Hi.
Hi.
I'm beyond excited right now.
Oh no, I am beyond excited.
I have this bad habit of doing like an actual woo. It's really bad. And I almost did it. And now I've just explained that I almost did it, which is just as bad.
No, I think I mean I prefer a woo. I like a woo if it feels like you're excited. And as a neurotic actress, we all need validation. So
Isn't that the truth?
yes, unfortunately. I'm trying to, not be so transfixed on others' opinions,
Hmm.
right? Because you can't attach to the good or the bad of what people say. So I'm like, but it's also nice when it's genuine. So
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. I like to just kind of like soak in the good and try to pretend the bad isn't real,
right.
and then just live with the good and try to let that help bolster me up.
Exactly. I mean, it's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, for sure. Are
Yeah.
you in some sort of sound boot? What is
Well,
this?
I'm in a closet. So,
Oh,
but I did it like a I mean, it's not professional. It's a double-sided stuck little foam. But I figured this is probably the quietest place in my residence because I have you know, a lot going on. I'm going through a move, so it's just, I was
do
right.
you record songs then in here, or what is it? What do you
No,
typically
I
do?
haven't, but I used to do an Apple Music radio show, and
Oh,
so I would interview people and do all the
when was this?
like a couple months ago.
Did you enjoy it? Was it a good experience?
It was really nerve-wracking, right? Like I have been interviewed for the past 5 years, but interviewing people, I'm like, Chrissy, let them talk. But I get so pumped, I get so excited, and then I obviously digress, not obviously, but I do digress, and I'm like, oh Lord, like Chrissy, stay on track. So for that reason, it's tricky.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's been challenging for me is navigating how much to like share in an attempt to
Right.
be vulnerable and help the
Right.
guest feel safe to open up themselves.
Right.
Versus then I'm going like, oh my God, the audience has heard this 15 times. They don't need to hear it again. Let's speed it right on up.
I know. And you don't know how much of your story they've heard or haven't heard, and but you're trying
Right.
to relate because that's what we're all trying to do as people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh Lord, I don't think I'm good at this. I mean, I really enjoyed it because I love people and I love music, obviously, but I was like, oh, it took a while to get like semi comfortable.
Would you get anxious beforehand, or is it excitement, or is it like
Oh,
anxiety?
oh, I'm not sure the difference in my life these days, if it's excitement or anxiety.
I mean, that's amazing. That sounds like wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanna like channel, I believe, the anxiety into excitement. And then I'm like, wait, but what if it's just excitement and I think it's anxiety? And what if I could just embrace the excitement? I haven't harnessed that. I haven't figured that out yet.
Please tell me if you do. I
Okay.
would love some tips.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would. That's a lot. I mean, so much of the conversations I've been having with like everybody, strangers, friends, colleagues, like we all feel the same way, especially when it comes to anxiety. It's like,
Yes.
wait, why are we not talking about it more?
Mm-hmm.
Can't we
Mm-hmm.
just make it like real? Can we just like,
What do you think
yeah.
of I've tried to work on this thing of like maybe just if I go into like even Zooms when there's just too many people going on, I'm always like, I can't say a damn word when there's too many people in the same Zoom Zoom room. So then I'm just like, okay, what's going on? The anxiety is going a million miles a minute. I'm like thinking of things to say, but not actually vocalizing any of them. What do you think? How do you think it would be if I just like went in and said like, I'm anxious? I think that
I
sounds
I
better.
think it's brilliant, and I have to say, like, I always keep probably too often than not, like, my emotions are always here, and they're always on my sleeve, and I'm always like,
Nice.
guys, just let you know, like, I had my opera debut last year, and it was to an empty a venue because of COVID, but I was like, woo, like. You're kind of woo, but like a release of a woo, like oh I did that, and I was like, the only thing I know how to be is myself.
Mm.
Sometimes I don't know what the hell's going to come out. And so I really try to just like normalize it but I have to talk about it. Like if I'm going downstairs that are like rickety, I'm like, oh my God, oh my gosh. Is anybody else afraid? Like how long have these stairs been here? Like these stairs are rickety. Like I have to just, I probably should keep a lot to myself, but I definitely do try to just feel my emotions because for most of my life I didn't, or I'd stuff them down. So
Yep. Yep.
I feel them more vocally than I used to.
I think it's way better that than stuffing down. I think the stuffing
Yeah.
down stuff leads to disaster.
Yeah.
I know that was a big theme of your book and something I
Yeah.
resonate with so deeply, and I'd love to kind of like go there.
Yeah.
But first I want to ask about the Opry debut because
Yeah.
that's so cool.
I know. So it happened last year, which was really exciting. But then and then I have another performance, which is going to be exciting because an actual audience will be there on July 24th. But
Oh my God, this
yeah,
coming up.
yeah, a couple
Wow.
weeks. So,
Wow.
it's one of those things where music was always my first love, was always something I wanted to pursue, but never was encouraged or supported with.
Mm.
And so then I still have like that imposter syndrome. I'm like, oh, you think you're a singer? Oh, you want to do country music? Oh, people are going to think, and then of course proving yourself. And then there's other people who have been doing this for a bajillion years and have never made an opera debut.
Mm.
And, so there's a lot of feelings around that. But then I thought, you know what, like, I'm here for a particular reason. Who knows what it is exactly yet, but I get to pursue and do something that I love. And that's enough. But it, just going through all the emotions,
Yeah.
and especially when something's good. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, is this going to turn to shit? Yeah, this is suspicious. Is the other shoe going to drop? Where is it? How many are there? Like, what's going on? Yeah, I mean, it's something. It's something, this life thing. Yeah.
How was the Opry debut compared to you performed at the Oscars?
Yeah, and that's another thing. Y'all. Okay, so people really project their stuff on to you, right? Like whether they do it subconsciously or not.
Yeah.
Every single person was so anxious and scared for me. Like it made me sick. Like my stomach was in knots, and I was like, y'all. And I mean, granted, I didn't write the song, and it was Diane Warren's song, and she's such a darling of the Academy and such an incredible writer.
Yeah.
I was like, if I just stand there and sing the song, that's enough. Like, I don't have to do anything else. It's going to be fine. I don't have to compare to all the incredible other artists because, like, what's apples to oranges? We're all wonderful. It's great. Easier said than done when everybody on your team is like, oh my God, they don't have a prompter up there? What if you forget the lines? What if you get the words? I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, friends. This isn't helping nobody. So, it was wonderful, but it was also I think it was more stressful for the people around me than for me. So
yeah, and it's so hard to separate from that, especially when it's your team members and the people that want what's best for you, and you're like, I can see you shaking. What am I supposed to be doing over here?
Right. I'm like, if you're not solid and confident, the hell am I gonna do? And I was like, Chrissy, you just have to suit up and show up. And that's sort of like the motto of my life. But like, it was wonderful, and something I never imagined I would be doing. But very, very stressful.
You seemed so at ease and so confident. You couldn't sniff a nerve on you.
Well, the hot dog, because maybe, okay, glad nobody could sniff through the television, because it was like, I mean, because there's other things, as you know, as a performer, like there's so many cues that you have to hit, and it's live television, and there's like all these big celebrities, and they're like, oh, and every time they interview you, they're like, oh, so Brad Pitt's gonna be watching, Joaquin Phoenix is in the audience. I'm like, okay, I know, dang, y'all, like, golly. But I had to think, like, okay, are they performers, are they singers? Like, I'm sure they're just as nervous, blah 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 blah. So you have to really rationalize it in your mind. But I just, when I'm in the moment, I really try to be present. I really try. So
that's the ticket. That is another, I feel like there's a theme here of things that are easier said than done. And that is another one that is like, goddamn, it's so hard to be present while you've got all these other things happening upstairs. And it can be overwhelming.
Oh yeah. And somebody's like fixing your lipstick and your hair and your outfit and making sure the mic and making sure your in-ear is right and making sure that your dress is, and then go. And then did you have water and did you warm up? Did we warm up too soon? Is it, and are you nervous? This is exciting. I'm like, oh my God. At one point I was like, guys, I'm cool. Like, I'm just going to sit here in the chair. Get me up to the stage, the wings a little earlier. I'm a chill. Y'all go chill. And then we're going to do what we rehearsed. And like, if it goes to shit, it goes to shit.
Did you listen to
I'm
music or anything like right ahead of time to kind of calm your nerves, or what's your method?
No, no, I like to like meditate and I also like to just think positive thoughts, positive affirmations. I like to pray,
Yeah.
to anything, all things that are holy and good. And yeah, I just sort of like try to center myself, and positive affirmations are really important for me,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
I have
Yeah.
to say also, you mentioned kind of big celebrities and being somewhat intimidated by them. And what you came to my one woman show. And when I came out and I saw you like probably 2 minutes into the show. And I'm not kidding, you had this like beautiful, very chic, like floral dress on. It just had like the perfect amount of movement. Your makeup, your skin was glowing, your hair was perfect. There was like a halo on you. And and I go, in my mind, it's like, oh my God, Chrissy Metz is here. Oh my God, Chrissy Metz is here.
What?
And then the whole time I just kept thinking like, oh, I hope I'm entertaining Chrissy. I hope I'm entertaining Chrissy.
Are you
The it
kidding?
was the chord of that show for me in my mind was just like Chrissy. Ah!
Well,
Oh my God.
I hate to think that I would ever even have that attention of your mind, because my friend Donnie and I came to see the show, and you and I have a couple mutual friends, and
Yeah.
when I say that I was blown away, like you
Oh,
are
thank you.
transcendent. Like I can't. I was crying, I was laughing. I mean, it was so incredible and not surprising, because I've been such a fan of yours, and I think that you are just way ahead of your time. And people don't even understand, and some projects that you might have worked on before. But anyway, and I was just like, holy shit. Like it was and this is not smoke and this is not fluff. Like it was so good,
Oh,
so real, so amazing. I wouldn't even know that you would know who I was. And damn it, if I think that I got any of your attention from your performance of your incredible one woman show, because I've always wanted to do a one woman show, but I was
you
like, oh
should
no.
do it.
I'm like, it is too much, too big, too scary. And I said, Jennette McCurdy is right here owning this stage, y'all. Like, not just the stage, but the entire theater. And I was like, it was so moving, impressive, awe-inspiring. Just it was I mean, literally I went to work to set and I was like, "Y'all, if you have not
Oh
seen
man.
this show," it was I could go on and on and on. It was really fantastic, and I was so grateful to have been there,
Oh
because
man.
holy
That's so nice. I appreciate that, and I appreciate how giving you were as as an audience member. Your
oh,
generosity. Like I was thinking, oh my God, you're probably an incredibly generous what do you call it? Scene partner,
oh,
because you know what I mean. Because you were feeling things, and that's like
yeah.
that connection is so palpable and compelling.
Yeah, it's really important. I think if you're going to be in a partnership with somebody on the screen, especially, like you got to give what you receive. And I think I just find that to be very important. But
Amen.
I mean, there's no way to watch you, to listen to you and your brilliance and your humor, but taking these really dark, difficult times in your life and making them like these lessons that you grow from, but also are heartbreakingly hilarious. I was like,
Huh.
oh my God. Like, I mean, you literally put us through all the emotions. We were like, what just happened? I mean, I don't know. Are you planning on doing the show? Are you
Yeah, we're looking into dates now. I wasn't sure if emotionally I had prepared for like, oh, I'm going to do it to the end of 2020, and then I need to move on, for the
sure?
whole emotional well-being.
Right.
But now I feel like, okay, I'm able to do it again, and I'm willing to do it again, and emotionally prepared to do it again, and what that entails. So I'll be doing it again. I don't know when the cutoff will be, but
Right. Well, most
can't do those
important.
kinds of shows forever.
No, my God.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know if you've seen Dear Evan Hansen, even though that's not Ben Platt's story. I was like,
that's it.
this is exhausting.
Hmm. Hmm.
I can't imagine you basically reliving your life,
Right.
you
Right.
know. Oh my, and golly.
I really hope that you do a one woman show. I think it would be incredible. The stories, I mentioned your book a little bit ago, but like the scope of your stories and the inspiration in it, I think would really translate so well to the stage.
Oh,
And like I'd be super excited to see it. Can we go into kind of
yeah,
the beats of your story?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you start with with how old you were when you first wanted to be a performer, when you first had that inkling, and what your world around you looked like.
Yeah, so I I mean, I was the youngest child growing up, and then my parents divorced, and we moved back to Florida. My mom remarried, and my mom had two other children, my two younger sisters. And so I became instantly the middle child, and it was like, "Oh my God, what is this? Like, I don't what?" And dealing with obviously my parents' divorce and my mom remarrying and then having two kids, and I literally felt like I was like lost in the shuffle. Like, hey, remember me? And I think that's sort of where I got. I mean, I've always been a diplomat because I'm a Libra, and I feel like I can truly hear both sides of every story and both sides of the coin. And like, I want people to understand each other. I'm like a lover of justice, like game night. Like, I go hard, but like, I also like, if you win cheating, I will fight you to the death. Like, that's not cool. If you win fair and square, boo boo, fine. Anyway, I'm just that person. So um I sort of became like this. I think to push away the feelings or the sadness, I would like be the entertainer of my family and my friends and doing impressions and silly stuff. And really it was because, you laugh instead of cry, as we all know. And so it wasn't really until middle school, all the cool kids were in band. And my mom could not afford an instrument. And she was like, I don't know what to tell you. I was like, well, I ain't playing this baritone because I'm a big girl, I ain't playing the big instrument. I want the piccolo, but it's unavailable. So anyway, I started singing. I started singing, and I was like, oh, okay, like this is what I love so very much. But it wasn't, I mean, people would always say, like, oh my God, you're this, you're that, whatever. And I would, I was a class clown in high school, and, so I love to entertain people, but I don't know, even after writing my book and talking to you about it at this very moment, I'm like, oh, so much of it was to cover up the pain or like the
Yes.
sorrow and the sadness and
Yes.
the feeling like the black sheep of the family and all that. Obviously, comedy stems from tragedy. But it wasn't really until I was too afraid to join like the theater department because they were so good in my high school. But I wanted to. And then everyone's like, "Oh, you should be the MC of Cat Prowl," which is like our big homecoming event. And to this day, I so mad that I never auditioned for it. I was like, there's no way. I can't. I mean, I was so afraid of my own shadow. I was so like beaten down, literally, by my stepfather and I's relationship, and it was just too much. I was like, and so I became an angsty teen and sort of rebelled in many ways, and it was just a mess. We all go through it, but it wasn't really until I started teaching preschool where I would like entertain the kids at circle time, and everyone's like, "What are you doing? Like, who? What? You need to be on TV." I was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever, whatever." And then my sister, my second youngest sister, she'd have different dads, so she's tall and thin, and not yeah. And so we went to this open call at the old Holiday Inn in Gainesville, Florida, and she wanted to go for like print modeling because she heard the announcement on the radio, like manager, Los Angeles manager, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we're like, what in the hell? And I was like, fine, I'll take you. So I ended up taking her. She ended up auditioning. The manager then came out and she was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, nothing, nothing. And in my heart, I was like, take me away from this guy. Like, I was like, please take me far. Like, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. I was like, what is happening? And so she's like, oh, you don't like sing or act or anything? I was like, in my heart, I was like, I want to try to, please, I don't, whatever. And my sister was like, Chrissy, sing Reflection, because Mulan was popular at that point. That's how old I was. Yeah, I was. And I was like, I'm not singing Christina Aguilera. She's like, just sing it. And I'm like, oh my God. And she was like, okay, whatever. Well, we'll call you back if we're interested. I'm like, okay. So the next day they called back and she was like, yeah, like, are you interested in TV film acting? I was like, I don't even know what that means. She's like, well, we'll like, we have classes and all that stuff, and you have to come to Orlando. At that point, I haven't even driven on the interstate, y'all. Like, I was 19. Like, I'm talking about afraid of my own shadow. And so we would go there every weekend and just literally at the public library, wherever the room they could rent for the weekend, we'd do classes. And then we ended up having a showcase out in LA and finding an agent, moving out. And then, of course, I moved out and didn't have any auditions, took everybody on their auditions. and it was like womp womp womp. I had one audition in like 5 months.
Oh my God.
Girl, I said, what am I doing here? And I mean, they were not trying to have big girls on TV in 2005.
Mm.
They were like, who? We don't have fat people on TV.
Oh.
And so anyway, all that to say, I became my agent's assistant because she needed somebody to just help her in the meantime.
Mm.
And my manager was like, "You gonna go and find out everything you can." And I'm like, that's not what I came here for. That is not what, you don't believe in me? I'm a terrible actor. She's gonna hate me. What? And it was terrible. Like the first, I mean, she and I, my agent and my first boss, she and I are still dear friends, but I will never forget. We always laugh about it. The first day I go to her office, I'm sitting in front of her and she's like, "Can you not look at me while I'm on the phone?" And I'm like, right. What am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to be an assistant of an agent in Century City. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, yeah. So that happened for 9 years, and that's sort of the beginning of my LA journey.
9 years?
9 years.
You were in the agent sphere.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, first off, you must have seen, to me, like the agent arena is like the dark underbelly of the business. Like they know shit. I feel like on like the talent side, you're just like heard these like rumblings of things all the time. You get like half pieces of information. You're like trying to understand where you stand in everybody's different world. You have no fucking idea.
Right.
But for agents, like they know stuff.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Stuff I don't want to know. Stuff I didn't need to know. Yeah. I mean, literally, I mean, it was helpful and it was advantageous in that, like, I knew that if I don't have a role or an audition or there's not an offer or whatever, I'm like, oh, then it's not that people aren't trying, because obviously agents don't make money till the clients make money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little different now because I'm sort of, I don't want to say typecast, but everyone's like, oh, she's the sad crying girl. And I'm like, but comedy was my thing. Like, what happened here? And so, but yeah, there are things that there are ways in which the business works that I think would be so helpful for actors to understand.
Yes.
I do think it would be really helpful because you take everything so personally.
Yes.
She's not calling me because she hates me, or I lost 5 pounds, I gained 5 pounds, and that they're going to drop me. I mean, silly things.
Mm.
And it's a very different world than it was 15 years ago. I mean, I remember agents saying like, oh, like she's gotten a little doughy. And I'm like, the fuck? Doughy? She's perfect. Like, what are we talking about? And it was like, I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. Like, it's so hard to say, but like, thank God it doesn't hopefully matter as much as to not only what you look like, but what size you wear, or what color your hair is, or are you a ingenue? Are you a particular type? I'm like, I ain't never gonna be no ingenue, honey. Like, what is that? And so I think I did have like an easier time of it because I didn't have to be a certain way and a certain mold. They're like, oh, she the big girl. Oh yeah, it don't matter if she gained 5-10 pounds. Like, we won't see it. But yeah, there are things, especially like with the business, that if you're not a particular name, it's hard to get a project made. And you're like, but they're the better actor. And they're like, yeah, but this is the name. And you're like, oh, okay. And that happens as we know, in every facet of any kind of career. But yeah, I mean, I saw some things, and we actually worked in the youth and young adult department. So I saw like a lot of, kids sort of being plucked from these random talent searches and like then on, huge Nickelodeon and, all those kinds of television shows. And so It was really cool to see it. And I love the talent part, and I love to root for the underdog, but I mean, I'd be the agent who'd open up all the submissions, the mail-in submissions, because I'm like, no, there is some kid who moved out here whose parents just put out a second mortgage on their home to like just be on a television show, or to just get an audition or an agent. And, I really understood that because I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 6 girls on air mattresses.
My God.
Girl, it was like pilot season camp, honey. And I remember there was an actor who lived in our building, and they would get scripts delivered, and we were like, oh my God, oh my God. It was like the most exciting thing ever. Penn Badgley, actually, it was Penn Badgley, who I love. But yeah, it was like, It was so crazy. What a crazy, wonderful, weird time. But I also really learned a lot. Maybe some things I didn't want to know, but but that's life, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
that's the thing. How many lessons have we learned in life that we're like, I would have rather not learned
yeah,
that one.
I didn't
Good.
need to know that. Yeah.
What was the
Forget it.
transition then like from agent to actor? How did that happen?
Well, so so funny. One of my one of my friends was like, are you going to still audition? And I was like, well, yeah, if there's ever an audition for me, I would audition. And my agent was like, listen, if there is anything, we still represent you. If there is anything, we'll figure it out. And you can take a sick day, you can take vacation days. I'm like, okay. I could tell you on my hands how many auditions I had in a year. I don't even, I mean, there were so few and far between.
Mm.
And there was this episode of Entourage, and Sheila Jaffe was casting it at the time. And my agent happened to submit me, and she was like, oh, yeah, yeah. We'll bring her in for an audition. Well, of course, I go to the audition, and it's completely different script than what I was given. And I was like, what in the hell?
That's always fun.
That's always real fun. I'm like, I'm not prepared for this. I barely get auditions. I don't know how to handle myself. I've never done this before. And so and then they were like, oh no, go back to the original script. And so then they booked me on the original script. And I was like, wait, what? And it was a scene with James Cameron, right? Like the James Cameron. And I was like, this can't be my first job. Like I did a small Bell South commercial, but like, and my manager at the time, she was like, oh yeah, you're going to be a featured principal. Honey, I was a featured extra, but that's okay. That's okay. You know what? You have to carry a crown before you wear one. That's fine. And so, this was like my first like legit job. And I remember thinking, I can't, like the scenes with James Cameron, like I don't even, okay. So I get to the set and they're like, oh yeah, so we switched the dialogue again. We rewrote the scene. And I'm like, no. I'm brand new, baby. I can't do this. And I was like, okay. And I will never forget. So I go and there was an extra artist who was like, so just so you know, your mark's here. And I was like, okay, right. And she's like, so I would advise if you like hit the mark and then turn and then grab I said, shit, you want you want the role? Do you want it? Let me talk to somebody because I think you're prepared and I clearly don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I was like, oh my God. Like you don't even think about like where the camera's at or like,
yes,
there's so much stress and pressure. And so we did the rehearsal, as they're trying to figure out the lighting and everything. And then even at that time, I was like, what is this? I don't know. And I remember I will never forget the line now, but I flubbed it and someone on the set was like, is there something I'm doing? Is it me? Is it what I'm doing? And I was like, no, not at all. I remember beelining to the bathroom, calling my manager, crying, and she's like, you better put your big girl panties on and figure it out. And I'm like, no. I don't want to act. I'm tired of this. This is too stressful. Why did I want to do this? This is too much. I honestly was like, I can't handle it. And so that was like one of my first experiences, and it ended up eventually being a good experience, but
yeah,
it is so stressful. It is, oh my God. And then I realized like, nobody's going to die, right? If the lines aren't right. No, I mean, this is what you realize 15 years later, while you're trying to act, but like, it's really just scary. And then of course everyone's like, oh, it's your first job. And then the SAG dues and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I mean, people don't realize what all happens. And then of course there's famous people in the scene. So anyway, it was wonderful, but stressful.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned too, like how many different factors there are. Because I feel like acting just seems like a thing where it's like, oh, you just kind of like say some words and like whatever. The fact that you have to be present while you're thinking of 15 different things, because also everybody's got notes for you. Like right. The makeup person's like, oh, but we can't mess up your lip. And right. The wardrobe person's like, but make sure that because the mic's like rubbing the wrong way. And then the sound person's like, but I need you to do the opposite thing because the mic right. is rubbing the way that doesn't work for me. And you're like, how do I take 15 different notes from different directions, do them all at the same time while like saying my line in a fun way or whatever it's supposed to be.
Right.
It's
and
like,
being authentic in your performance.
yes.
Yeah. I'm like, and then hitting marks and cues and like, there's so much. I always say this, but like even, and I hate to say this, but even terrible acting is still impressive acting because it's not easy. Like, it's just not easy. Your brain is computing so much.
Yeah.
At any given second moment. And whew, yeah. Or how do you feel about memorizing lines? Is it easy for you?
That's probably because I started like, that was my first kind of acting class when I was a kid, was like memorization technique and cold reading. So that's probably the thing that I'm most confident in. And then the least confident is like getting on a set and having the pressure of the camera and all the things that we've just discussed.
Yeah.
That's like, eek.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Well, because I think, not that we're all as actors seeking validation, but there's like a thing that we want to be liked and loved. We all want to, but like we also want to tell stories, and we also want to relate to people and have people relate to us, because maybe we felt, I know for me personally, like I never felt like anybody could understand where I was coming from. And so I would see that and try to be empathetic in other people's stories. And that's why I wanted to be an actor, and just to tell stories and entertain people. But like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening. And some days I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm capable. Like, I don't think I can do this.
You think this like, now you're saying?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sometimes I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
That's crazy to hear.
For sure. Yeah,
wow.
Definitely. And then there's also like, you have to think about the writers and like their art, and not messing up their art, and making sure that it comes and translates appropriately. And then sometimes I'm like, as a character, I know this character, I don't think she would say that, and then it's like, do I have the right to say that? Can I say that I shouldn't say this? But there's all those things. And for me, I always want to be part of projects that I can authentically promote, talk about, and like just be in.
Yeah, thank you for saying authentically promote, because that it's hell to promote something that you don't believe in. It's like, I think it's absolute just like soul sucking. You can feel your soul like leaving you while you're in front of the cardboard cutout of yourself.
Yeah, it's like, how am I going to do this? Like, and because for me, I'm like, okay, I have a responsibility to the job, to the people who have employed me, but at the same time, oh gosh, and I'm so grateful that I've been a part of projects that like I've now in my career, 15, 16 years later, can choose projects that I feel are right and that I feel good about talking about. Because who knows, God forbid, who knows, but I don't want to be a part of stuff that I feel like, oh, I need to keep my SAG insurance, so I better do this job. Because there's many people. There's many people that have to do that. And, acting is acting, and you can, I don't know, maybe squeeze out the goodness of it. But and that's another thing, press becomes more the job, and the acting is like the easy, delicious part. The press is like, I mean, I've done like hundreds of interviews in a day once, and I was like, and that's authentically promoting something. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying. I hope I'm making sense. Like,
all the words start to sound like they're coming out of somebody else's mouth or something.
Yes. Yeah, I've automatic experience. And then I'm like, do I sound like Charlie Brown's teacher? Like, I think I do. And I'm pretty sure I'm her or him or whatever. But there's just many components to acting for many, many, many reasons. But, people are like, oh, well, you chose this life. I'm like, I did. I sure did. I'm not saying I'm not complaining about it, but that's another thing, is like having emotions about, people are like, you should just be grateful. And,
yes.
Yeah, that's always hard for me.
I think one of the most problematic, like, phrases is you should be grateful.
Yes.
I think this like lack of permission to have a full experience of whatever it is that your life is so, it just lacks connection. It lacks authenticity. It's harmful, I think, for anybody who's experienced a thing. And I actually think that there's so much more to offer in talking about the nuances and the intricacies of an experience, even if some of that is ugly, when it seems like it should be this thing that's on this pedestal because everybody looks up and thinks, oh my God, but you're this, and that's, everybody wants to be that. It's like, there's got to be that room for everybody to talk about their experience fully, so it's not just these like cut and dry, I'm
Yeah.
grateful, I'm happy, I'm blank.
Right.
Right.
Right. I mean, you have to.
Ooh.
And like it does. I mean, it does create conversation that I think needs to be had, because I knew the way that I grew up was like, and just be grateful for whatever you have. And like, yes, you should be grateful, but you also should feel feelings as a human being and say, you know what? This doesn't feel right to me. Or
Yes.
today I feel really shitty. I feel really sad. I'm feeling the emotions that I didn't think I was going to feel, or whatever you're feeling. That's what we do as actors, is feel and translate those feelings. So like, why would we not do that in real life? I'm like,
Yes.
that's some backwards nonsense.
Yeah, and also
But
that feelings aren't sort of mutually exclusive, to where it's like, oh,
right,
it's not, it doesn't undermine gratitude if you also
right,
feel another emotion
right,
alongside the gratitude,
right. Both can be true. That's a
Yes.
statement that I like. Even this past year, I'm like, oh, both can be true. I can be happy and sad. There's a Casey
Hmm.
Musgrave song, I'm not sure if you know, but Happy and Sad. And it's so like, literally, she's like, I can be happy and sad at the same time. And it's like, oh yeah,
Is that
you
from
abs
Rainbow or her
yeah,
last?
yeah, from
Okay.
Rainbow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I listened to the hell out of that
Oh
album.
yeah. Wonder Woman.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
so
damn.
good, so good.
So good.
But yeah, it's just, I think the more that we talk about it, and yes, I think that people are like, oh, you have such an amazing job, but people don't realize the work, the sacrifice. It's a career. It's not,
Mm,
just because there's fame and fortune involved doesn't mean that there's not heartbreak and hard work and all the other stuff everybody goes through.
absolutely.
So it's interesting. Also, when I would talk to young actors, or anybody who are like, could you talk to my daughter about wanting to be in the business? And I was like, sure. And it's always about like, do you want fame and fortune? Because like, that's not always going to be the case,
Mm,
and it's going to ebb
mm,
and flow. And I always say, and anything I try to do in my life, like, what is my intention? What is my
mm-hmm.
intention? So I try to live by that. But you know I think that I also lucked out because I wasn't a child actor, because I can't imagine how much oh, not really knowing who you are, or growing into who you are, and like all the pressures from everybody. I mean, I can't even imagine what that must have been like. Um, yeah, it's hard enough as an adult.
Yeah, no, that's so well said. It's definitely there's a lot of baggage, I think, that comes with it for anyone. I have yet to meet somebody who was like myself, a child actor, and doesn't have some degree of like baggage or
Yeah.
some amount of ghosts, skeletons in the closet that they're trying to kind of overcome or deal with in their own
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. I mean, and I know that like our existence on this planet is really about evolving and becoming the person who we are, or
Yes.
re-becoming, right? Like peeling back all the layers, as they all say, and like
Yes.
finding out who you are truly and who you've always been, but like all this stuff has been put on us.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a tricky thing, but it's like a beautiful thing at the same time. But I saw a lot of actors who, I mean, we had a little boy, I'll never forget, he like retired at 8. He's like, yeah, I don't want to do commercials anymore. And I was like, I feel you, boo. Like, he's like, I'm over making money for everybody else. Like, let me do my thing. So, and like everybody's journey is different, and
Mm,
doesn't always mean that they're going to be interested in adult, being an actor when they're adulthood. But
right.
yeah, I always really sympathize with the young folks.
Well, I'm sure too, with your like personal experience
Yeah.
with them, that's like
Oh
gotta
yeah.
gotta inform it in a big way.
Oh
I'm sure
yeah.
you've seen a lot of things.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen actors who like were the sweetest little wonderful human beings, and like money really changed the person.
Mm,
I was like,
mm.
oh, okay. And I guess that's possible. Like that's what happens. But
Yeah.
it was a weird thing to see, for sure.
Yeah. So okay, you did this Entourage
Uh-huh.
spot,
Yeah.
and then what came next? What was after that? What was the next big
Oh, nothing.
milestone?
Nothing.
Okay.
It was like, I mean, I did oh my gosh, I don't even remember what the show is called now. Not similar to This Is Us, but this, I forget. Oh my gosh. Tony Rock was on it. Chris Rock's brother.
Mm.
Tisha Campbell, husband was on. Oh my God. I forget. Anyway, it was like a small co-star.
Okay.
And then I did a co-star, like a guest star on My Name is Earl.
Mm.
And these were like few and far between. And then a show called Huge, which was about a fat camp, which was like so brilliant. A writer named Winnie, who actually wrote the book to Wicked,
Mm.
the stage play book. She and her daughter wrote it about a fat camp, and it was so. Haley Hasselhoff was the lead, but one of my friends, Jessica Garcia, was in it. Anyway, it was a small co-star on that. It was like a television show within the television show. Small stuff.
Got it.
And then years and years passed by. And I was really just sort of focused on being an agent because I had to pay the bills. But
so you said goodbye to your acting.
Yeah, I mean, it just wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. It was like, I remember I went to audit an acting class, and this coach, who shall remain nameless, was like, yeah, there's, you're not going to make a career out of like being guest stars on television shows. You're just not, they're just not going to book you. And there's already a Melissa McCarthy. And I was like, I don't even know what to say to you right now, but thanks. And yeah, I mean, I didn't obviously make a career out of doing just guest stars on television shows, but I just ended up focusing on agenting. And then there was a role on American Horror Story about, 7 years ago now, 6 or 7, right before, no, it was a year before, 7 years ago. And someone was like, they're looking for a very specific type. They want someone who's sort of like, very sort of innocent and sweet, but they either want someone who's very large, or they wanted to put prosthetics on them. And I was like, American Horror Story, put prosthetics on me, and whatever we got to do. Yeah, okay. I mean, I was like, I don't want any scary bloody stuff, but like, okay. And so I remember having on the audition, and I would go on the audition, but like, I don't ever think I'm going to book something, because it's just like, I didn't even have the time to cultivate who I was as an actor, because I was working so much and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, Eric Dawson, who actually is the husband of Roxanne Dawson, who directed me in Breakthrough, and she's done a couple of our episodes of This Is Us, which is kind of a cool coincidence. Wow. He booked me on, it was like a 5-episode arc on American Horror Story, the Freak Show season. So not a week before, I was like, y'all, I could never be on American Horror Story. That thing is too scary. And then I booked the show, and I was like, oh my God, I could be on American Horror Story. Like, I'm gonna figure it out. And so I got to go to New Orleans for about 5 months. And it was just so incredible, because everything Ryan Murphy does is like beyond elevated and brilliant, sometimes very scary for me, but like there's always a through line of the human condition, no matter how dark or scary or bloody or gory it is. Anyway, and I got to play this really cool role, and I had a prosthetic suit on. Y'all, I got stuck in the trailer. Literally. The prosthetic suit was like, it was like wearing a couch. Like it was like that cushion. Yeah. And it was so wonderfully made, but like I was like, oh, I can't get dressed in the trailer anymore. Like we're gonna have to have a dressing tent for me. And so basically my character, her name is Ima Wiggles, but she was brought to the freak show. Because everybody was different and weird, and they were like, she's the biggest woman we've ever seen, and all that. And while it seems kind of gimmicky and weird, what I loved about that role was like, she's like, yeah, I don't want to get skinny. Yeah, I don't care. My family's from the Upper East Side. Like, I don't care. Like, this is who I am. And I love that. I was like, okay. But it was a mind F, because I was gaining weight, eating whatever the hell I wanted, because I was like, nobody can see it anyways. I'm in a prosthetic suit. I was like, this ain't good either. What's going on here? So, every role, I don't know if you've had the experience, but like sort of forces you to look into, and I've already obviously really know that I have food issues, but like it really makes you sort of hold up a mirror to yourself, which can be good or bad. Eventually, hopefully good, but at least reflective. No pun intended. So or pun intended. But yeah, so I did that, and then I was like, okay, great. My career is starting. I was on a Ryan Murphy show. He invited me to a Golden Globes after party. It's happening. It ain't nothing happened for like a year.
Really?
Yes.
Right after that, that's Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always,
And
you always think it's like gonna take off, and then
yeah,
it's like, oh
yeah.
no, though.
Oh, I get, and then I thought, oh, they were probably like, oh, poor girl, she needs a job. Like, she shouldn't move back to LA. But I was so close to moving back to not LA, sorry, move back to Gainesville. And I was like,
Mm,
Florida, and I was like, I just can't do this anymore. Like, it's just too hard. Like, it's not gonna happen. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe
mm,
I'm just supposed to be an agent. Maybe I'm supposed to teach acting classes. Like, maybe I'm not supposed to be on TV.
mm,
And so I was like, sort of coming to terms with that. And I was like, oh, it's heartbreaking. Like, I don't want to give that up. But I went back to agenting, and everybody was like, oh my God, I saw you on the show. Like, I'm so proud of you. And it was really nice to like have other actors support you in what you do,
mm.
even though they thought like, I mean, they were taken care of. And like, that was my biggest thing, was like, who's going to watch over my clients? And like, I want to make sure they're still getting submitted. And I was doing commercials at the time. So, anyway, everyone's like, Chrissy, like, you should just go for it. And I'm like, go for what? And I thought, okay, I have to be very clear with the universe as to what I want. If I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out,
Love this.
you
Yes.
know, they're like, I'm confused, so I don't know what the hell to do. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And so I thought, okay, maybe now's the time to like just take the leap of faith and start auditioning, or just say, I'm an actor, not I'm an agent who likes to act, but I'm an actor, and submit away. And
Mm,
so I was like, well, that would be me going on unemployment, which is petrifying because I've worked since I was 14 years old,
mm.
and I'm very independent. Like, not one person gave me a dime. I mean, one parent who was a teacher at my high school gave me $100 for gas money when I first moved out to LA.
That touched my heart
I
when I
know,
read
like,
that.
so sweet. Like, those things are like really important and like will always just etched on my heart.
Yeah.
But like, my parents couldn't afford to, or they didn't, or they couldn't. So I was like, the only person who's going to do it is me. So I was like, all right. So I made sure all my clients were taken care of. They
Mm,
were, folded into with a new agent. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And it was so hard. I mean, like, a year of like, I would help people out here and there, or like consult with them, or, prep auditions, whatever. But I mean, I'm telling you, like, I had nothing to my name
mm,
when This Is Us, when the audition came about. And I was like, I mean, I guess, like, what else do I have going for me? But there's no way I'm gonna book a series lead. I've never even tested for a show. Like,
mm,
it ain't gonna happen, boo boo. It's not for me. I don't know. And then, as I said in my book, like, it was like I went to the audition, and it was like the birds were birdier. It was as if I was in a Disney musical. Like, the guard gate, the
my
guard
dream.
office. They were like, I know, right? They're like, good morning. I'm like, good morning. Like, da, 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 parking my car. And I'm like, it was like, what's happened? And then I thought maybe it was me. Like, maybe I just was so excited to like actually have a legit audition, and like felt like
Mm.
I was working towards something. And then I get in the room, and womp womp womp, it went to shit. I was like, that was the worst audition ever of my life. I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, because it was the scene where Kate has fallen off the scale, hurt her ankle, and then uh, uh, Justin Hartley's character, Kevin, comes in and is like, what's going on? And she's like, I can't handle this shit. Anyway, I'm like, do I put my ankle up? Do I, like, what do I do? Like, auditioning is so awkward.
Yeah.
Like, pretend that we're somewhere else, and that this person who doesn't even know how to read is going to read with you and be present with you in the emotion. And you're like, oh my God, you look great. It's just so hard. Anyway,
While they're
I'm
occasionally like checking their phone, a call
yeah,
comes in the middle of it from
yeah,
somebody else. It's
right.
like
Yeah.
you're
They're eating lunch, they're mixing in their stevia in their drink, whatever, or they're not even looking at you. Oh, or the camera's not working. Like, oh, actually, and then you do a great take, and oh, you know what? The camera wasn't on. I can't do it again. I can't do it again, Nancy. I can't do it again. Like, it was. Anyway, so I was like, okay, well, fine, fine, fine. And then I ended up, having a callback, which was like a miracle. And then they were like, well, we want to test you. And I was like, do what? No way. Huh? And so, I mean, this was like something that I remember calling my clients or clients that we shared. I had commercial clients and they had theatrical clients. And we would say, like, oh my God, they want to test you for the show. And like how exciting it was. Like, and then to actually feel that emotion and to potentially be part of a project that could be so life changing. I was like, oh my God. So, of course, the testing situation is even more stressful because there's 6 people that sort of kind of look like you. And you're like, do I befriend them because I like people? Are they my enemies? Just put your head down, Chrissy, and don't just figure your shit out. So then I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, wow. Okay, so this guy looks like me. He could be my brother. I'm like, should I go talk to him? Should I have like like a good, like, should we have a good rapport? Should we have good chemistry? Like, let me. And I'm like, Chrissy, don't play the game. Just wait till they call your name. I was there for, it felt like 18 damn days. And I was like, oh, they hate me. And the girl comes out. She goes, they don't hate you. You're probably their first choice because you're the one going last. And I was like, she's tricking me, right? She's tricking me. This is a trick. And I was like, please, girl, whatever, deflect, whatever. And I remember going to the audition room with Justin, and like there was like this instant sort of chemistry, like brother sister thing, and that was really cool. But then it's like you don't know. So then it was narrowed down to me and another girl.
So everybody else was asked to leave?
No.
Okay.
No. So we left the test, I should say.
Okay.
Like 5 hours later, everybody leaves the test. I'm like,
because that's a thing also for people listening. Like,
yes,
you are, as an actor, many a times a casting director will come out and be like, you can go. And then they'll just like tell the chosen ones to stay. And you just like have to go out with your tail between your legs.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing is like, I really had a sense of peace throughout most of the experience that like,
wow,
if it's meant for me, it's mine. Nobody can take it away. If it's meant for so-and-so, it's hers. I can't take it away. And I was just so happy to be there. Like, just so happy to feel like, maybe there is something. Maybe I can tell stories. Maybe I can make a career out of it. And so that was just so exciting for me. And so then they, they're like, okay, thanks so much. We'll be in touch with your reps. And we're like, bye. Right. And then all the way home, you're like, oh my God, I wish I would have done this better. I wish I would have done this differently. Oh, that damn, oh God, it's the worst. Anyway, so it was probably 2 days later, and I was still working at the agency that was representing me. And I shared an office with my agent at the time. And I was like, oh, did you hear from them? Did anybody call? Oh, is that them? And he's like, Chrissy, if you don't stop. I'm like, I just want to know, yes or no. It's just that easy. Yes. Like, just pull the Band-Aid off this big ass wound and just tell me. And he's like, Chrissy, I promise you that if we hear anything, you are going to be the first to know. You're sitting 5 feet away from me. I'm like, great. Okay, great. And I'm still trying to do my work and like whatever. And trying to make sure that everybody's taken care of as I'm transitioning, everybody out. And so they call and they're like, we really love Chris. I was like, put it on speaker. And he's like, oh my God, stop. I'm like, just put it on speaker. Put it on speaker. And he's like, they're like, we really love Chrissy. There's also another girl that we really love as well. So we want to test her again. Okay. But Justin at this point already had the job. Who was playing Kevin.
Okay.
Justin Hartley. Yeah. And he's been acting, forever, like tests on every damn show, I'm sure, every single pilot season. He's just that wonderful guy. He and Milo and Mandee and Sterling, like everybody in the cast has been working like 10, 15 years longer than I've even thought about it. And I was like, oh, anyway. So I test with a girl and with Justin. And she couldn't be kinder and nicer and more beautiful and more talented. And all I'm doing is sitting there like comparing and despairing. And I'm like, Chrissy, stop. If it's hers, it's hers. Like it's no big deal. Like we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. But you better be present for this test because all them executives are gonna be looking out and you better figure it out. So and one of the producers calls me and he was like, listen, I'm not gonna be there, but I just want to say like, just connect with Justin. Like, I know you already have, but like, it was really sweet for him to give me a note. And I was like, is that a good sign? I'm like, I'm not gonna think too much into it. So then we're sitting out there and they're like, oh, the executives are coming into the room now. And I was like, oh, I thought they were already in the room. So it's so awkward. They're like walking by all Justin, her and I. And I'm like, And some of them said hi to me and some of them said hi to her. And they all said hi to Justin. And I was like, oh my God. What if like those were her favorite? Like I was like, okay, Chrissy, just stop.
Wow.
Stop. Just stop. So anyway, we go in. She and Justin go in to come out and she's like, I really think it's yours. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? She's like, and I've been praying for you and I hope that it's everything that you want it to be. And I was like,
What an angel.
I mean, literally an angel, literally
Wow.
the most wonderful woman. And I was like, I, started getting teary eyed because that's what I do. And I was like, well, thank you so much. But like, whatever's meant to be is meant to be. And I'm glad that I got to meet you. And I go in and we come out and we're like, well, should we all walk to the parking garage together? And they're like, sure. And, Justin's like, has the job. And she and I are like, cool. So anyway, what are you going to have for lunch? Like, we can't talk about what happened in the room. It's too awkward.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to say something that the other person doesn't want to hear, whatever.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And so it wasn't, I got into the parking structure and I talk about it in my book, but like this weird number comes up that I didn't recognize. And I thought it was a bill collector, honey, because I was 2 months late on my car payment because I didn't have no monies. And I was like, I'm not answering the phone. And then my agent calls and I was like, what? And he was like, what happened? And I was like, it was fine, whatever. I don't know. Like, I don't know. And I was like, this number won't stop calling. So I finally pick up the call and it's like, because we're in the parking structure. You can't hear.
I'm so stressed and I know how it goes. I'm seeing my ass cheeks are like clenched.
Mine too. So I'm like, hello? Mad, right? And all I heard was, it's Fogelman. And I was like, did he say Dan Fogelman? I'm like, hello? And he's like, hey, it's Dan Fogelman. I was like, hi, Dan, hi. And he was like, hey, so I'm like, hello? At this time, I'm not kidding you. I was going up the down. Like I was going the opposite ass way in the parking structure because now I'm like nervous as hell. My red face about to start sweating, AC full blast. I'm like, what is going on? Anyway, so he was like, hey, listen, I know it was a very quick decision, but we just want to let you know. I'm like, what? Hello? And he was like, we just want to let you know that you're our girl. And I was like, wait, you called Chrissy, right? Chrissy. And he was like, we know who we called. I was like, okay. I said, I'm going to piss myself. Classy broad. They hired a classy broad. And I was like, oh my God. And like that moment will forever be etched in my brain as like life-changing moment that I now know, of course, 6 years later, but like, because just because you book a pilot doesn't mean it's going to get picked up. I mean, booking a pilot is a massive, incredible thing.
Yeah.
But like, you don't know if it's going to get picked up, and then you don't know if it's going to be popular, and you don't know if the writing's going to continue to be good, and like all those variables.
Yep.
And so when I say every day of my life, I am so grateful. I could probably get choked up right now of the experience that I've had on the show. It's like, it's unreal. I mean, everybody who's a part of it, everybody I get to work with, it's unreal. It's like lightning in a bottle. It's a miracle dream job. And I think I'm even more emotionally charged about it because I know next season's our last. So right. I'm like, but yeah, it's, I mean, I hope that I can encourage and support other people's dreams by like, they're like, if Chrissy can do it, I can do it, because on paper, my life does just not make sense. It just don't. And it doesn't have to, so yeah, I mean, that's sort of the beginning of the last 6 years of my life, which I could never have dreamt of. So
it makes my heart feel so like swelling and happy for you. Like just I know everybody says it, but just like good things happening to good people. There's something that just feels like all is right in the world when you see that. There are certain people who their success just feels like it just belongs and it just inspires everyone. And it's such a positive force. And that's how I feel about all of your success. It makes me so happy. Yeah.
Thank you. It's been a while. It's taken a while for me to even like accept it. But like, oh, I'm worthy of this. Or that even though I busted my butt for years and years and years, does that mean I deserve it? Or right, what?
Mm.
And so I know that everybody's deserving of being happy. But I think where people get it wrong is like the entitlement. So, I
Mhm.
think it's deserving, but you're not entitled to it. Um,
Mhm.
it is your birthright, but I don't think you're like, oh, I'm entitled to this. I don't, not unless you work for it, obviously. But
Yes. Yeah.
um,
Um, I want to be mindful of your time here. To wrap up, can we kind of just go into a little bit of this you haven't started shooting the last season, or you have started?
no, we'll start in September.
Starting in September.
Yeah.
Okay. So what that experience is like for you, knowing going in that this is going to be the last season. Have
Yeah.
you processed, where are you at in the processing of it? I can only imagine.
Listen, I just got off of a independent film. I've always wanted to do an indie movie,
Yeah.
and this particular movie is called Stay Awake, and Jamie Sicily is the writer director, and it's based off of his story. He and his brother, whose mother is addicted to opioids or oxy, and how the epidemic in which prescription pills are in this country or in this world. I was like, this is something I have to do, and it's such a different world, but not, obviously food issues, addiction, it doesn't matter what you're using, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But and so of course I can relate to that, although my addiction is food and not not drugs, but it's the same thing. Sugar obviously reacts in your brain like cocaine. It's the same thing. So anyway, I was really grateful to have been in the Catskills for a month doing that. And then my therapist and I always talk about the beginnings and ends of things are highly charged, emotionally highly charged.
Yes.
And so getting there, I was scared out of my mind. The middle was so great. It's like when you go to a party, right? The party's not started. You're like, I don't want to be here. Party gets real good and the party's over. You're like, the party's over. And that's sort of how I feel about This Is Us, because
Mm.
like the middle was like, we were being nominated a bunch and talked about it, and this is cool network show. And um, the beginning is great, the middle is great, but then now it's like, oh, we got to leave the party soon.
Mm.
But you want to leave the party and on a high note, you want to leave the party in a positive way, and not like I always say, we want to go out with a bang and not a thud. And so it's hard to think about that because 6 years is a significant portion of someone's
Yeah.
life.
My
I can't
God.
imagine like Grey's Anatomy. They've been doing it for like a bajillion years, like 15 years or something. But I know that I'm so lucky and grateful to have been a part of such an amazing project for so long. But I'm really, really sad about letting it go.
Mm.
Like I'm just going to be sad. Like I could cry about it. Getting to see these people every day and like literally watching them in awe because they're so incredible and they're just good humans. But at the same time, as Sterling always says, like good things all must come to an end. And I'm like, I hate that. I hate that saying.
That's my least favorite saying.
Yes. I'm like, I actually don't like it.
And why do we need to be like reminded of it?
Yeah,
Like,
correct.
come
correct.
on, guys.
Yeah,
We don't
correct.
want to
We don't need a
that.
cute quote. So I am, I don't want to be so sad that I don't enjoy it because
Yeah.
what's the point? But I'm just going to really relish every moment and every scene and every episode and, just sit in a lot of gratitude. But yeah, I'm definitely emotional about it. I mean, even when we wrapped season 5, our last episode, I was like, I'm like, Chrissy, it's like the last day of like, senior year of high school. I'm like, Chrissy, you ain't graduating yet. You were a junior. You're gonna be a senior. Like, just wait. You haven't even gone to prom yet, boo boo. Like, just wait. So I'm really trying not to be so sad about it because it really is a beautiful thing. It's just hard to let it go sometimes. Hard to let something great go.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned sort of you did this indie and your focus is now music and country music specifically. Is that your main focus, or what are your aspirations now coming off of?
Yeah. I mean, music was always something I wanted to do. It was like my first love because I didn't think I could be an actor. I don't think I could be a singer either because sitting in your room recording on a boombox. But, um, for me, I love country music and I love the instruments of country
Mhm.
music. And I grew up in the South, but I love so many genres of music. So I don't know where the music's going to sort of evolve to. Um, but right now it's sort of like kind of like country soul. It's like a little, I don't know. I just want to tell my stories and I want to sing songs. So however that ends up being, wherever that ends up going. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I want to pursue it. I would love to have a production company. I'd love to write. I'd love to produce
Mhm.
some great films and works in TV and just tell stories that need to be told. Whether it's musically or on TV or film or in a book or whatever. That's what I want to do. Do you do music at all? I mean, I know you play the ukulele and you sing, of course, still, but
I play 3 chords on the ukulele and
better
the
than
same
me.
on the piano. I literally, I only learned the 3 chords so that I was like, I can't just be talking for a whole hour for a 1-person show. Like I have to find some way to break up the content. That was sort of what made me purchase and try to learn the chords on the
Wow.
ukulele. But no sort of no musical aspirations other than to just break up a show.
Yeah. Even though you are a really great singer.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
It's funny. Like, I know it's a bit of what you talked about on your show, but like, yeah, you're a great singer. I'm like, oh damn,
oh,
But was
thanks.
it not something that you ever wanted to really pursue?
No, and it's something that I just got so much anxiety around. Like if I
Oh
had to
yeah.
sing for an audition, sometimes it would come up if it's, just sometimes I guess there's a part
Sure.
where the person's a singer.
Yeah.
And if I had to go in those, I was always a nervous wreck for auditions, but I was particularly nervous when I had to sing. And I feel like my voice carries my nerves most
Yeah,
transparently.
for
So I was
sure.
like, "Ugh," like it would feel like it was just like clenched and like squeezed and it couldn't come out.
Oh.
And I still get absolutely terrified even before like the little comedy songs for my one woman show. I still get like, oh, so much anxiety,
Yeah.
which I'm working on and trying to
Yeah.
combat, so it's not such a, I'm like, these people here are so nice and I'm telling them my whole life story, like it's not a big deal if I crack on a note, like they'll
Right.
understand.
Right.
But it's definitely something that I just get so much fear around.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, for me, it's like something that I've always wanted to do, but I haven't done it publicly. So
Yeah.
like it's still very nerve-wracking. And there's some people who just own a stage and you're like, that's magnificent. Like, how
Yeah.
do you do that? But I think it's a lot of, if you don't want to do it, if you don't love it,
Yeah.
that really is a huge factor in anything.
I think
So
that, I mean, yeah, for sure. For anything, it's like if it's not, if there's any other option for anything else you could do, probably
yeah.
don't put all your eggs in the basket of the thing that's the most difficult to do.
Right, right. If you hate it, maybe you don't want to do it.
Maybe not.
How long did it take you to develop your show?
I had written a first version, and I was like, well, I think I'm ready to go. And I'd spent like 6 months working on it, and then I did like a sample for a couple friends, and I was like, well, that can never see the light of day. It's utter trash.
Oh,
And then the second one sort of came to me much quicker. And I've found for me, like creatively, that's usually a good sign if something kind of pours out of me. And then, of course,
yeah.
there's a million revisions. But at least for that first draft, if I'm struggling too much and I'm too much like, oh, what, it's probably not going to work. Whereas if
Mm,
it just kind of pours out, I find that it's probably something worth continuing to explore through the many arduous phases that happen
right,
after that first one.
right. People just see it, voila, just on the stage, and they don't
Right.
know the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into it. Oh, it's so good. And I'm telling you, if you haven't seen it, and whenever it comes back around, like, honey, do whatever you got to do. Take a loan out, whatever. If you ain't got no money, I'll let you borrow it. You can have it. Like, you have to go see it. I think it's so special.
Oh my God.
So special for so many reasons. I know that you're probably exhausted, but like everybody in the world needs to see it.
Oh
I
man.
believe it. I believe
Thank
that.
you. That's so nice of you. I truly can't wait to see yours. I hope you do find a version of your stories for the stage. I would see it, and I'm just so happy to talk to you, man. I just like
You
it's
too.
just
I've
been
been
so
such a
fun, and
fan.
it's like I my heart just feels full talking to you. You're so great.
Oh, you too. And I honestly like just respect you so much and really value our time together. And really, I mean, you know, but you're special. So thank you.
Thank you.
I was like, what? I want to talk to her. Yes. Especially on your incredible show where you're talking about some real stuff. We got to talk about real stuff. We do. Yeah. So
thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you so much for your time and your openness and your spirit. I appreciate it.
You too. You too. And you know, if the show's coming back, I will come and see that thing again. For sure. I'll be there. I won't be there with the halo. I'll be sitting in the back in the dark because
the halo's always there. You can't do anything about the halo. It's just a part of you.
Oh, girl, the check's in the mail. Thank you. Oh, all right. But yeah, well, I will. I'll be stalking you on Instagram and wishing you well. And I hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, same to you.
All right. Bye.